Hi everyone, welcome to the next video in this page from Meine Reise Durch Europa by Rita Berman, and we have got these people or dolls. I'm not quite sure which, whether they're real people or dolls. I should probably know, but I can't really tell. In costume. Now these look like traditional dress, so I have found out what might be, the colours might be. So the first thing is the blouse and the shirt will be white. The reason I think they're dolls is look at their hands. But I think I might just do a little bit of skin tone. I'm going to just use the beige red. Mine's called light flesh, but it's the beige red. And just do their sort of hands, and like, look, she's got a little bit here. And if they are dolls, which is what they look like, they might not be this colour, but everything else is painted. So I'm thinking that maybe this would be painted in a sort of, this sort of colour. Her mouth is a heart. Yeah, it must be dolls. But in the traditional dress. So yes, as I was saying before I interrupted myself, I've looked up the clothing, so the blouses and shirt are white, so I won't be colouring those in because that's the colour. We'll do a background though, so then they'll sort of stand out a little bit more. Yeah, so I'm not doing any sort of shading or layering. I'm trying to keep it reasonably flat, like that, just because it's a doll rather than a person, so it's not going to have a shape for a nose. There's no nose drawn in, that sort of thing. So there's our beginning. Now let me look at my list. So black shoes is what I've got written next, so let's do that. It's nice and easy. Whoops. So I have my black, and we're using Polychromos, by the way. I'm sorry I didn't say. Now I am going to try and make a little white gap on the shoe to look like shine. I think she would have like polished pumps like that. Here's a more difficult. I'm not doing the heel, the sole bit, this bit yet. I might just really pop that quite darkly in. Like that. I'm thinking maybe the sole might be grey rather than black. I don't know. Let's make it a different colour just so that I've gone out of the lines. Never mind. So I'm thinking maybe I'll go with the cold grey 5. It's a little bit lighter. Just so that it's not all the same colour. There's no point in Rita having drawn that. Now, so that's the shoes. What's next on my list? Red skirt, bib and scarf. Okay, so we need a red. I'm going to grab the deep red, which I need to sharpen. So red skirt first. So her skirt's got this little pattern on, so I'm going to try my hardest to colour around that pattern. I think it starts here, her skirt, around there. Gonna need a very sharp pencil. But I think it'll be okay. Now if you go over the edge, over the lines when you've got a sharp pencil, it's harder to erase it because because of that sharp point, it's pushed that colour right down deep into the paper. So you need to be a little bit more careful, but I have gone over the lines a bit. I always do, you know me. So I just do my best. That's all I can do. So here's the red skirt and bib. So I'm going to do this main bit here in red. sorry, concentrating and not talking. It's not the most entertaining, is it? There we go. I'm going to leave the rest for some other colours because they can be quite bright. And his I called it a scarf, but it's like a bandana, isn't it? Or a waistband. Don't know what you really call them. It's certainly not a scarf. Oh, let me hold that. But his is red. Quite bright, isn't it? I find it absolutely fascinating that a lot of countries do have traditional outfits. Like this is a traditional outfit, and like Wales, they have traditional outfits, and Scotland, we don't in England. We're such an old country, we don't have a traditional outfit, you know. I think, oh, it says scarf. Oh, this is her scarf that's red. Its sash is red, it says. So her scarf is red. I think I'm going to do the inside part red. And we've got this little border, which I shall do in a different colour. Now, when I was looking at photos, there were quite a few different takes or variations. Red sash with pink, yellow and white on the skirt. I'm going to need a green as well. I'm going to grab this green, permanent green. I'm going to do a bit of green because of the leafy pattern. So here's the green, permanent green. I can do the leaves, green. Ooh, like that, and a bit in there, I think. Maybe around here. Pink, yellow and white. Okay, I'm going to use a really bright pink. I'm going to use the fuchsia. So here's our fuchsia pink, and we'll do this bit first. Might not stand out against the red that well, but I know what we can do. We could outline it in white. We'll do these bits in pink. I'm tempted to do her heart on her mouth as well. And then these just lightly. Could use a lighter pink, but I think that's okay. And yellow. Let's do our, this is the dark cadmium yellow. It will show up nicely. Just give it a sharpen. And then do this edge of the sort of bib. I'm thinking I'll leave these white, and maybe the edge of the skirt. I don't know about the socks. I quite like white socks. And I'm going to do these earrings in yellow. We'll do a hair later. We'll just get the clothing done. Okay, he's got black trousers. See, the shoes are black. We could do them slightly lighter black. I'll show you what I mean. So he's got his hand in his pocket there, hasn't he? So if we don't press down as hard, we've still got a black colour, but it looks slightly faded. And then it just looks different to the shoes, which are going to be really harsh black, shiny. I'm going to make them a little darker on the edges, and it just gives a bit of shape to his body. Although he's a doll, he's not flat. There we go. And his waistcoat also. Now I think his waistcoat might just be this bit here. I guess it'll be this bit too, because it will go over his shoulders. But I'm thinking that, you know, he's got a shirt. I think that might actually be skin. Then I'm going to grab the beige red. Just do this bit here. Like that. There we go. Now, I think his hat, yeah, his hat is black. So I've got a black here for his hat. I'm going to make it a bit darker in there. I think that might be part of it. Not entirely sure. There we go. Now, hair. I'm thinking if I go brown, it's a different colour to what we've used already, so I think it will work better because it will look different. I'm going to use the bistre. I don't want a really dark brown. I'm just going to sharpen it a bit. I do think she looks like her hair should be blonde. I don't know why, but I'm going to do it in brown just because we've got yellow already. And I didn't want it to sort of get muddled in with the yellow colour. Now I'm just putting down a layer and then thinking about the fact that it will be darker against the hairband. So I think a little bit darker here and maybe also here. Now he hasn't got a lot of hair. He does have his tash. Let's just do that bit. Do his tash. There we go. Now I'm going to use the beige red again, just for that little bit here, like his mouth. And then his little cheeks. I'm going to grab the pink, the fuchsia that we used. I'm reluctant to sort of use and do it really lightly like we did for hers. I want them to sort of match. There we go. Now he's got a flower and I'm quite thinking that I'd like to do it pink. And it then ties in with her, which I think is good. Now as they have no blue, I was quite tempted to do a blue background. But I'm thinking we've rather overdone the old blue backgrounds a bit, haven't we? This is dark cadmium yellow. I'm going to use it for the flower centre. So I'm not sure. Now we could use a little bit of grey on their shirts and socks and things to give them some shape or some interest, but I actually think that it might just make them look dirty. So I'm going to leave that for now. Do a background and then see. I'm quite tempted to do a green background to bring out the green. We haven't got a lot of green in this picture and I think it might just help it to stand out, but a much paler green than we've done. So this is my palest green, which is light green, and I'm going to just go over the whole background in this to start with, and then yeah, and then I will darken up the corners because Rita has done these dots for us to tell us that we need to darken up that area, and I will use a darker green because this one is quite pale, but you know, I want it to be pale in most of the areas, like where it's against this green. Just looking at my list to check that I don't think I've got any more colours, so I didn't write down her sock colour, but as I say, I'm pretty sure it would be white. So they look almost like Scottish dancers' socks and shoes to me, but I don't know much about Scottish dancing. To say Highland dancing, isn't it called? I don't know. And Irish as well. Irish dancing is a thing. English dancing isn't a thing. Isn't it weird that we don't have the traditions in the same way? But we kept being invaded. But then so did so did other countries. But of course, what did my son say? The word Wales, the country of Wales, if you've heard of it, it's in the UK. The word Wales means slave. And basically, when we were invaded, all the sort of peoples of the country got pushed across into Wales. And yeah, we weren't treated very well at all, apparently. This is grass green, and I don't know whether that was the Anglo-Saxons, who are our sort of originators in this country, or whether it was invaders. You know, we were obviously invaded by the Romans for a very long time, the French, the Vikings as well, but I think they were more up in Scotland attacking the Celts up there. You know, the history is fascinating, isn't it? And then of course we got strong and started colonising the world, which it's not good, is it? And you know, slaves and slave trade and all that sort of thing. It was just thought to be fine, you know. But obviously we're learning, thank goodness. Not fully learnt yet, but getting there. Now we have our gold, silver and white pens. What are we going to do with those? Wow. I'm going to use my white actually to start with, to go down this stripe here and this one, because I went out of the lines. Okay, so it's fine. I am going to grab my gold to do some tassels. These tassels here, can you see them? I think they look nice in gold. I can't imagine that is traditional, but I'm just putting my own stamp. I'm going to do a little bit of gold there and on the earrings there, like that. And I'm also going to go back to my white, sorry, do a bit of work on the flower. It's always nice to have a few white dots on a flower, just makes it look pretty. And then the silver I'm going to do on the background, in the corners where we've got all this dotting. I've done this quite a bit on some of the others, haven't I? Yes, it's history is not always, the problem is our history books always seem to show us in a good light, you know. Oh, Sir Francis Drake, he went out and did all sorts of things. He went to Spain and stole all their gold. That was nice. So, my father says he was just a pirate. I was like, yeah, maybe he was. Anyway, hopefully we're behaving a little bit better now. Hopefully. I try to anyway. I can't make up for all of them though. Right, there are our little people. I'm just checking that they're done. I'm happy with that. I think they're done. As I say, there's a lot of white, and I don't usually like to leave loads of white, but I think it's working in this particular picture, so I'm just leaving it. You might want to go over some of the black lines in more silver, in more white, use some cream, use some grey, you know, but I just don't want to. I like it, so I'm going to leave it. So for today, thank you so much. Hoping that you have a super day and happy colouring.